Welcome to Raid Perspective's Talent and Glyph Guide to the Protection Paladin in 4.3.
Okay, so when you first spec into Protection, you're going to get Avenger's Shield and then a bunch of passive benefits. Vengeance is a buff that all tanks get as they take damage. This was implemented in Cataclysm to help the tank scale with the DPS. Vengeance can max out to 10% of your total health. This value is converted to attack power, so a tank with 150k health can get up to 15k attack power. Because of this, any increase in stamina will also increase your damage output over the course of a fight. Judgments of the Wise makes mana a non-issue so long as you're judging regularly. Divine Bulwark increases our chance to block melee attacks. This scales so well that paladins will reach a point in their gear level where they will never take a full melee hit. Let's go ahead and move into the talents now. Divinity is the most powerful talent in this tier. You should make sure that you max this out. This not only increases the healing done to you, but it also increases the healing done by you, which means the Word of Glories you cast on yourself will be healing for 12% more than they would without this talent. Seals of the Pure will increase the damage we do with Seal of Truth. I use Seal of Truth almost all the time, making this talent much better in my opinion than Eternal Glory. At the beginning of Cataclysm, Eternal Glory was awesome because Word of Glory didn't have a cooldown as protection. Now that it does, it's really weak, because all it's going to do is give you another chance at Shield of the Righteousness or Inquisition. Since both of these choices are now DPS choices, Seals of the Pure is just the more consistent choice. Judgments of the Just reduces the attack speed of the target you're judging. This is like having your target hit only 4 times where it would normally hit 5. Unless somebody is keeping this debuff up for you in your raider group, you should definitely have this ability. Toughness is a simple armor increase you should get. There isn't enough opportunity to use Hammer of Justice while raiding to make the cooldown reduction worth it. Consecration can really burn your mana pool, so I suggest putting at least 1 point into Hollow Ground. Sanctuary makes you uncritable, reduces the amount of damage you take overall, and it increases your mana regeneration. Hammer of the Righteousness becomes your go-to button whenever you're doing AoE. Crusader Strike should be your most frequently used ability. That alone should be enough reason to put 2 points into this talent. But it also buffs many other abilities, so it's extremely useful. You block frequently as a paladin, so Reckoning serves as a nice damage increase. But it's also going to increase the chance to proc a weapon enchant, which can increase survivability. Shield of the Righteous is a core rotational ability. Grand Crusader is going to increase your ability to interrupt and gain holy power every time it procs. Vindication reduces the physical damage you'll take just by doing your regular rotation. Holy Shield is a really nice little cooldown that'll increase the amount your blocks block for. If you absolutely need to maximize your survivability, Guarded by the Light isn't a bad choice. However, I feel that there are better choices overall, and you might want to skip this talent. Divine Guardian is a really powerful raid cooldown when used effectively. The only time this wouldn't be useful is when you were solo tanking and nobody else in the raid was taking any damage whatsoever. Sacred Duty is a nice damage increase. Shield of the Templar gives us some nice options to increase our burst. At the same time, it reduces the cooldown on Guardian of Ancient Kings. Ardent Defender is one of the most powerful cooldowns in the game, and it can be used in clever ways to avoid certain death. Once you have 31 points in the Protection Tree, you can expand to the low-hanging fruit in the Holy and Retribution trees. I'll go ahead and start out in the Holy Tree on the Arbiter of Light. If you have a 2-piece Tier 13 set bonus, this will become a slight survivability talent. You'll never heal other players enough to justify putting points into Protector of the Innocent. Haste is a pretty terrible stat for Protection Paladins because we're not going to have haste on our gear, so it's never going to scale and it's just going to be bad. You'll never hardcast enough for Clarity of Purpose to be effective. Last Word is pretty incredible. It's just unfortunate that you have to take terrible talents to get to it. You won't be hardcasting Exorcism as Prot, like ever. Okay, so let's swing over to the Retribution Tree. We'll start in the middle of Crusade, which is going to buff our primary single target and AoE abilities. To make it further down the Retribution Tree, you have a choice between Eye for an Eye or Improved Judgment. Eye for an Eye will increase your damage output, whereas Improved Judgment will give you some utility. Guardian's Favor is an extremely situational talent that I doubt you'll pick up unless you're doing like heroic Tier 11 Halthus. Rule of Law increases the damage output from your primary single target and AoE abilities. In addition, it'll also increase your survivability with Word of Glory. Moving around is very important on some boss encounters, but if you don't plan on speccing into this talent, at least get the boot enchantment. It's important to note that the boot enchantment will not stack with this whatsoever. Alright, so I've highlighted all the different talents that are available to prot. Talents highlighted in green are critically important to tanking, and you shouldn't skip these. Talents highlighted in yellow are talents I'd strongly recommend. Talents highlighted in blue are good options you can choose to fill out your tree. Talents highlighted in red are either extremely situational or just plain bad. Let's go ahead and take a look at our glyphs. Which glyphs you're going to use can depend on a fight-by-fight basis. I like to use Seal of Truth, Shield of the Righteous, and Crusader Strike as my base glyphs. All of these will increase our damage output and threat, especially in single target encounters. If a fight has me using Hammer of Righteous more than Crusader Strike, I'll swap glyphs. If you happen to pick up 2 pieces of tier 13, then the Glyph of Judgment becomes a survivability choice. If you're really worried about your survivability, then Word of Glory is another option. Okay, so let's move on to major glyphs. If a fight has a lot of magic damage, then glyphing Divine Protection can be beneficial. The Glyph of Lay on Hands can be really nice, although you won't generally be using Lay on Hands more than once in a fight. The Glyph of Focus Shield will allow you to increase your single target damage output. You generally don't run into mana issues as a Protection Paladin, but if you do, Ascendant Crusader can help. The Glyph of Holy Wrath is extremely useful in Cataclysm. Many of the fights that include adds are elementals. Being able to stun the adds allows you to kite them for a short time. There are many other major glyphs to choose from, but I generally stick to these. Last of all, we have minor glyphs, which are pretty insignificant, however they can be useful if you need to rebuff in the middle of a fight. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this guide helpful.